Hello, Wendy Myers here from live to110.com. Thank you so much for joining me today on a very special edition of the Live to 110 podcast. Today, I am going to be interviewed by Dr. Eric Zielinski. This is my talk from my upcoming Medicinal Supplement Summit happening September 12th to the 16th. So please register for free. It's a totally free and online event talking about everything supplements, what supplements to buy, the right ones for the many different health conditions, and how to choose the right supplements online and at the store. And we have so much information about the top supplements in depth. And I did 50 interviews with the world's top experts in health for the Medicinal Supplement Summit. So go register at medicinalsupplementsummit.com. Please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or health condition and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. The Live to 110 podcast is solely informational in nature, so please consult your healthcare practitioner before engaging in anything that I suggest today on the show. Dr. Eric Zielinski is a very good friend of mine. He is a speaker on the summit as well. He interviewed me for my summit, for my own summit. So I talk about why I wanted to host this type of summit and my own experience with using supplements to heal my health. And I talk about how I use hair mineral analysis with myself and with my clients to develop customized supplement programs. A big theme of the summit is using a sniper approach to supplementation to do testing and based on your health conditions, figure out the exact supplements that you need for you as an individual. You're unique and so should your supplements. And this is opposed to the shotgun approach to supplements, which is just taking a multivitamin. A lot of the speakers on the summit talk about how just taking a multivitamin is not enough. It's certainly better than nothing, but a lot of studies show that taking a multivitamin doesn't reduce mortality or disease because you need to take supplements customized to your body. So we talk about so many interesting topics related to supplements. So definitely go check it out at medicinalsupplementsummit.com. Totally free and online, beginning on Monday, September 12th.
Welcome, everyone, to the Medicinal Supplement Summit. My name is Dr. Eric Zielinski from drericz.com, and I have the express privilege of interviewing your host, the lovely Wendy Myers. Well, Wendy, before I go into your just super impressive biography, just welcome to your event, my dear.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be speaking about supplements and helping educate you guys about medicinal supplements.
So you are on like every summit. I mean, you're on my essential oil summit. You're on just every week, every month. And we're going to talk a lot about this and why you put on this event. But thank you so much for being on the other end of the microphone. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money really to put on an event like this. And I haven't seen anyone do what you're doing to the extent that you are, because it's so needed. And so folks, thank you again for tuning in, and perk up your ears to this talk, because Wendy is definitely speaking on behalf of years of understanding, research, and being on the front lines helping people around the globe. So for those of you who aren't too familiar with Wendy, Wendy Myers is the founder of live to110.com and mineralpower.com. She is a functional diagnostic nutritionist in LA, Los Angeles, California. She attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York and has a degree in entrepreneurship from the University of Southern California. She uses hair mineral analysis and other functional medical tests to design custom mineral power programs. This is an individualized, and we're going to talk a lot about that today, folks. This is an individualized targeted nutrient therapy program to facilitate toxic metal and chemical detox, heal the adrenals and thyroid, regain energy and brain function, and reverse and prevent disease. So if you haven't, check her out at live to110.com. And again, Wendy, welcome and thank you. And let's just jump right into it. talk to us a little bit about your background and why did you even get involved in the health field to begin with?
Well, like many people that are in the health field, I had my own health crisis, and I was also planning a pregnancy, and I had to figure out how to make my environment safe for the baby. And then I realized we have so many chemicals in our environment and that we put on our body. And then I had to learn how to, take the right supplements for when I was pregnant. And so I just had this huge learning curve. I felt that I had to learn, and I had never studied this before. And I thought, how did this escape me? And then I started learning more about diet and nutrition and the right type of diet to eat. So I decided to just, go to school for it. And then I started my website, liveto110.com. And then sadly, my father was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and that just shook me to my core. And I was furiously trying to research to try to help him. But unfortunately, he passed within about 6 months of his diagnosis, and really got me focused on detoxification, because everything I was reading about cancer is caused by chemicals and glyphosate and toxic metals and mineral deficiencies. And so I wanted to help my own health. I began reading about detoxification and developed my Mineral Power program to help facilitate detoxification. And what I learned in that process, it has to be individualized. It has to be customized to each person, based on their particular nutrient deficiencies, their metal toxicities, and their health conditions. So you have to have kind of a customized, targeted program. And, and I love supplements, and I love, teaching other people about supplementation and how to supplement individually. And I thought, I want to do a supplement summit. It hasn't really been done before. There was one a few months ago, that vitamin summit, but I've been creating this, conceiving and working on this summit for about a year. And I'm just really happy to be able to educate people about how to take the right supplements for their body.
And it is so critical for people to take this information seriously, because supplements are $1 billion industry, and a lot of folks spend a lot of money on supplements unfortunately, to no avail, right? And I've learned, and folks, at the end of the day, if you could just simply take the pee and the poop test, and you'll determine if you take a multivitamin, and I'm going to ask you right about that in a minute, but if you could take a multivitamin and if your urine is like neon green 1-2 hours afterwards, you literally are excreting everything that you just took, or a majority of it, and you just wasted your money. And a lot of folks don't realize that. They just take them because they were told to. And so there's a lot of blanket advice. And even unfortunately in the natural health community, as we all know, in the medical community, this one-size-fits-all approach. So I'm very curious on your take, Wendy, specifically on taking targeted supplements compared to multivitamins. What is the revelation that we need to get out of that?
Well, hey, a multivitamin is better than nothing, but it's kind of like the shotgun approach. Just throwing something at your body and hoping it sticks, and maybe it's what you need, versus a targeted supplementation, which is like the sniper approach, giving your body exactly what it needs. And that really helps people to meet their health goals far, far more accurately than just taking a multivitamin, because one person's panacea is another person's poison. And so that's, something that a lot of people don't realize, that some people need calcium, other people it really messes them up. Some people need copper, other people are copper toxic. They have to avoid it like the plague. And I can give you a million examples like this, especially iron. Some people need iron. The ones that don't, it's really, really toxic and causes a lot of metabolic disturbance in the body and inflammation. And same thing with vitamin D. Some people need that. I'm not into these blanket statements. Everyone needs vitamin D. Everyone needs calcium. No. If you don't need vitamin D, it can cause inflammation in your body, can cause you to retain too much calcium, can cause different issues in the body. So again, you need to test, don't guess.
Love it, love it, love it. And so talk to us a little bit about testing. What exact testing do you mean? Do you mean like going to the local, what are they? There's a ton of them now. You can pay like $100 and get blood tests. I mean, they're all over, the Ready Labs. Is that the kind of stuff you're talking about?
Well, there's every kind of nutrient and mineral requires a different kind of test. Like for vitamin D, you test blood. But for me, I like to start out with a hair mineral analysis. And that tells you your tissue levels of minerals. Because a lot of people are really missing the boat on minerals. Most people are mineral deficient, and you need minerals to make your body work. They're the spark plugs of the body. You need them to copy your DNA, to get your heart to beat. You need magnesium for your heart to beat properly. And just there's a million examples like that. You need zinc to make your digestive enzymes. And a lot of people are deficient in minerals because they're missing from the soils. So I start with a hair mineral analysis to determine the minerals people need, because I think that's a great starting point. And the hair mineral analysis is kind of like a treasure map. It gives a lot of different information and tells me where to dig further. So when I get that hair mineral analysis and the person's complete health history, then I'll say, you need to do this test, and certainly I look at, the person's medical test they've gotten from their physician. But based on that initial test, I'll tell them, what else they need to do.
Okay. And so when you've worked with clients all over the globe, have you found, trends and that sort of thing? Like what common mineral deficiencies have you found?
Well, almost everyone, 90% of people are deficient in magnesium. It's the most important mineral, and every single one of you listening should be taking it every single day. And a lot of my clients say, oh, I am taking magnesium, but they're usually taking it in a multivitamin, which is not going to have nearly enough magnesium that you need. Magnesium and other minerals are very, very bulky, so you have to take a lot of them. Usually you have to take them separately in addition to your multivitamin because they are so very bulky. And with magnesium, kind of a rough estimate is you need 5 times your body weight in pounds in milligrams per day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need about 1,000 milligrams of magnesium per day. And that's a rough estimate. You want to, take it to bowel tolerance. Some people can be very sensitive to different forms of magnesium. Magnesium citrate will usually can cause loose bowels in some people. So that one I typically tell people to switch to a magnesium glycinate. I love magnesium threonate. I also love magnesium chloride in the form of a spray form. The brands I really like, I love Dr. Mercola's magnesium threonate and Life Extension magnesium threonate. Magnesium glycinate, I typically recommend a pure encapsulations. And for the magnesium chloride, I personally use a spray called Ease by Activation Products. Our co-host Ian Clark has created an amazing spray magnesium chloride.
Love it. Yep.
It's the highest quality magnesium chloride available. And that's why I wanted him to co-host. He has incredible integrity in the quality of ingredients he uses in his products. He refuses to use lower grade quality products, which is why I personally use them. And most spray magnesiums and spray oils, I can't stand them because they make you itch. That's like something that I just have never been able to use them because they make you itch so bad. That's because they're using low grade magnesium chloride. So the difference when you use the Ease is it's used that high quality magnesium chloride, and it won't make you itch as long as your skin is moisturized. So that's why I like it. So those are the forms you can take. Also, selenium. Big problem in deficiency of selenium. Almost every single person I test is deficient in selenium, unless they live in Hawaii. For some reason, the soil is really rich in selenium there. And selenium is important for many reasons, including repairing chromosome breaks. So that can prevent cancer. When your DNA doesn't copy properly and the little chromosomes break in the DNA, that can lead to a mutant cell, and then that can grow into a tumor. So that's kind of how it prevents that cancer. And selenium is also required for your thyroid hormones to be produced properly. to prevent viral replication, and to detox your body. Selenium is a precursor to glutathione, so you need selenium to detoxify your body, which a lot of people need help with. I love Life Extension, S-E-methylselenocysteine. It's kind of a mouthful.
What's that again?
It's Life Extension, S-E-methylselenocysteine.
Okay.
That's the best form of selenium that you can find. The next most problematic deficient mineral is potassium. A lot of people don't have enough potassium, and you can get it in your diet. Bananas and berries are very good sources, but most people need to add additional potassium to their diet. I like potassium citrate. Really, any brand is fine. There's really no amazing brand of it, but any potassium citrate, you can put it in some orange juice, which has a lot of potassium as well. Citrus has a lot of potassium, and that can really help to supplement potassium you're missing.
So your whole practice is primarily focused on detoxification. Talk to us a little bit about that, because in the context of this, I know that you recommend supplementation to help detox, and there's certain things you should and shouldn't do. So talk to us a little bit about the whole concept of detoxification, why we're so toxic, are we so toxic, how do we, all this stuff.
Yeah, so everyone today is toxic. The question is, what metals do you have in your body and how much? There's no one that's free of toxins unless they've been detoxing for a long time and doing an effective detox. And everyone has chemicals in their body. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says that we have 700 chemicals on average in our body. That's frightening. But I don't want to, depress people or make it seem hopeless. There's a lot of things that you can do to detox your body that are very practical. And I think it's really that missing piece of the puzzle. And it certainly was for me when I was eating an amazingly healthy diet, eating fresh grass-fed meats and fresh vegetables and cooking them all myself. I was taking amazing supplements, and a lot of them, probably a lot I didn't need. I was sleeping every night. I was exercising. I was taking impeccable care of myself, and I felt like crap. And I thought, why is this? What exactly do I need to do to feel good? And in my research and in my own health crisis, when I had low thyroid and I had the adrenal hormones of a menopausal woman at 37, and I couldn't lose weight, and I had horrible brain fog, and just in my whole process, I finally figured out that detoxification was that component I was missing. And if you're feeling that same way, if you're doing all this stuff to take care of yourself and you still don't feel good, that's the missing piece of the puzzle, is detoxification. And there's lots of right ways to do it and wrong ways to do it. But, you initially need to just assess what your toxic metals are, and then that'll give you a roadmap to how you need to detox them.
Wendy, before we get into the nitty gritty of that, because I've heard you say this before, and actually I think you said it, I should remember, boy. I think you said it on my summit when I interviewed you for my Essential Oil Summit about how we should be detoxing all day, every day, essentially. Can you give people just some really quick tips? Like, what does that mean? Like, how does that mean I have to drink like apple cider vinegar in my water every morning? Is that good? I mean, are there certain daily habits that people could or should be doing outside of the supplement world to help supplementation too?
Yes. So there's a couple of very simple supplement recommendations I can make to help people detox. So the things that I take every single day are Pectosol C. This is an amazing supplement that is basically a modified citrus pectin, and it's made from citrus peels. It's totally natural, and I recommend people take about 5 to 10 milligrams per day. And that's a binder. It helps to absorb all these metals and chemicals that we have in our bodies and that we're exposed to every day. And it's very easy. You can, use the powder. You can put it in some warm liquid or take the capsules. And I try to take it twice a day. In between meals. You want to take it an hour away from other supplements and food because it will absorb those supplements. You don't want it doing that, but you want it absorbing your metals and chemicals. The next thing that I do is a product called BioSil. BioSil is an amazing supplement, and it's all natural. It's a silica, which is a mineral most people are deficient in, but it's a special kind of silica. You just can't take normal, natural silica like horsetail or other types of silica. It needs to be specifically BioSil, and that will bind onto specific metals that reduce our body's ability to make energy. And I'll go into those in a minute. And that's what everyone wants. They want more energy. And so BioSil will detox thallium, arsenic, tin, and aluminum, which these are specific metals that poison enzymes that transport nutrients into our mitochondria. And our mitochondria are our little cells, powerhouses that make our energy. So the BioSil, taking 6 to 10 drops a day in a citrus juice or pineapple juice, which, maximizes absorption of the BioSil, that will really help to remove these metals from your body, and eventually you'll see increased energy production. But that's a very slow process. It takes 2 years of taking the BioSil and the Pectosol to really, maximize the amount of energy your body is capable of making. Because, it's taken you a few decades. Most people listening are 30, 40, 50. It's taken you several decades of accumulating these toxins. So you're not going to see a miraculous reversal of your symptoms in 6 months. It takes time to slowly and safely detox, remove these toxins from your body. So stick to it. You want consistency, and do the BioSil to mobilize these metals, and then you take the Pectosol seed to absorb those metals that we're mobilizing. I also love infrared saunas. These are one of the most amazing ways to sweat out all these metals and chemicals that we have in our body. I try to do mine every single day. I use a near infrared sauna by SaunaSpace. You can check them out at saunaspace.com. I absolutely enjoy my sauna session every single day. Sometimes I'll meditate in there. Sometimes I'm doing social media. Hey, I'm in the sauna sweating like a pig. And
love it.
Yeah. And so, I enjoy my time in there, and it just gives you this amazing glowing skin. It bypasses the liver. So our poor little livers are so, taxed with all these metals and chemicals we have in our body. So you just sweat out through your skin, which is your body's largest detox organ. So that's the most, probably one of the most effective things that you can do. And if you can't afford to get one at your home, go to spafinder.com and you can search for infrared sauna in your zip code and find a place near you. There are lots of different places. Acupuncture clinics and doctors' offices have infrared saunas, Pilates centers, and there's even places you can go that will have 10 saunas and a little shower in each room with the sauna where you can go and detox.
Now, for folks who aren't too familiar with infrared sauna, is there a big difference between infrared sauna and like the generic Scandinavian wood sauna that we go to at our local like LA Fitness or something? I mean, what's the main difference?
Yes, very good question. I know all the listeners were thinking that too. Yeah, it's not the same. The infrared sauna is not the same as the Swedish or Finnish sauna, the dry saunas at your gym, which most gyms have these. Those will heat your body up, and they penetrate you a few inches, but they're so hot, you can't stay in them for very long. I don't know about you. I can only stay in like 10, 15 minutes and I'm dying. The infrared sauna is a much lower temperature, and the infrared rays penetrate your body depending on the size of the ray. The near, mid, or far infrared rays penetrate your body several inches. And so that heats you up from the inside out and provides you with a far more effective detox capability. And it's just not comparable at all. So it has to be an infrared sauna to truly get that maximum detox effect that people are looking for when they do a sauna.
Very cool. Very cool. So it's pretty obvious from just, I mean, you could just go outside and breathe the air. And I'm only 36 years old, so I'm not really too young, but I'm not too old. But I remember even when air wasn't as polluted as it is now, right? You got to go up into the mountains, it seems, or somewhere nice to get away from all of it. It's just there's toxicity everywhere. So it's pretty obvious that this is an issue And it seems even more apparent from our conversation that we need to be assessing specific metal toxicity. So walk us through that. Like, walk us through, what do you do with your clients? Like, what could people start doing now even to test for metal toxicity? And if there are any customized detox supplements that you could, suggest, that'd be super cool.
Yeah. So, why do we want to test for metals? It's because the more I research, the more I realize that toxic metals are there's always an underlying cause of a metal to a disease. So toxic metals do contribute and cause all different kinds of diseases, and every disease that I read about and the more I study, has an underlying toxic metal or chemical component to it. And I see this in my client population. I see this in my research. So this is something the physicians aren't looking at unless they're really brilliant doctors. They're functional medicine practitioners, or they just have had an awakening and they realize that their clients have a lot of metal toxicities causing their disease and they're testing for it. The physicians are really missing the boat. And so you have to assess your metal toxicity using hair mineral analysis, urine metal challenge tests, and stool tests. And the reason ideally you want to use all three of those is because some metals come out best in the hair, some come out best in the urine, and some come out best in the stool. One thing we don't want to check or bother with is blood. I have a lot of clients coming to me, their physician check their blood for metals. I'm like, oh, there's nothing there, you're fine. But these toxic metals are very, very toxic. Your body, gets rid of them as quickly as it can. So it puts them in your bones, or it puts the metals in your fat, or what have you. So typically they're not in your blood for very long, and you're not going to see that unless you've had a very, very recent toxic, acute toxic metal exposure. So blood, in my opinion, is useless for assessing your body burden of metals.
Okay.
Yeah. And so based on this testing, you want to do it to find out what metals you have, so we know what supplements to give you, or prescription chelators like DMSA or EDTA. These are just chelators that grab onto metals and remove them from your body, because we have to know what we're working with. Different metals will require different supplements and different substances to remove them from your body. So yes, you can do a general detox, do these 10-day detox kits, and there's definitely things that are created for the masses that you can try. And, every little bit helps. And I like it when people are just kind of thinking about detoxing and trying different things. But ultimately, if you want to really help yourself the most and get rid of your health issues and your annoying symptoms that people have, get rid of fatigue and brain fog, you really have to test and figure out what's going on here, what you're working with, what toxicities you have.
So what specific, I'm trying to chew on this, because this is really not my specialty. And I imagine a lot of folks are listening. They're thinking, okay, so I go get a test, and now what do I do? You know what I mean? Is this something that someone can do at home on their own? Do they need to go contact, a provider? You know what I mean? I mean, how do we make this even more approachable for folks? Because a lot of folks don't have the ability, or maybe their finances restrict them from traveling somewhere or even working with someone over the phone or internet. So talk to us a little bit about that, like, self-care.
Yes. So ideally, you want to work with a practitioner because it can be complex and whatnot. But you can do certain things at home. Like I mentioned, you can do the BioSil and the Pectisol C. Those are very effective overall general detoxifiers. I provide these tests for my clients. They can do them in their own home. They just purchase it on my website, and then they are sent test kits to do this. People can't work with a practitioner. You can actually buy hair mineral analysis just by itself, are very cheap, and you can see your metal toxicities in the hair mineral analysis without anyone needing to interpret that for you. So that's a way to go. But you're usually, I know that you can buy the urine metals challenge test on the internet in various places, but those do usually require DMSA, which is a prescription from a doctor that you have to get. But there are, there's more than one way to skin a chicken. So you can get these tests. Yeah, you can get these tests yourself on the internet. But of course, I always advise people working with a practitioner because it does get complex, and it's, taken me 10 years to acquire the knowledge that I have on detoxification. So I can assure you, it gets complex.
Yeah, just from my own research and my personal limited experience in this field and talking to folks like you, it seems very practical, like a good idea for the average person out there, just to go out and do some self-tests, just to get a gauge and just to be awakened to the fact that there's an issue. Take some of the, standard procedures and supplements and, eat better food and do things, get on your own pathway. And that's one thing that folks might want to consider. Get comfortable, because oftentimes when you work with someone, it could be overwhelming, right? It could be, wow, I have to not go to McDonald's. I can't smoke anymore. I can't drink all the time. And now I got to do all this, it's like step by step by step. So there's a lot of stuff you could do too. But like Wendy says, when it comes to specifically advanced detoxification, it could get dangerous, especially when you're on pharmaceutical drugs, because there are a lot of counterindications and things. So that is important. Yet at the end of the day, though, I know that you have some favorite detox supplements that you typically give your clients. So talk to us a little bit about that, and what do you even do to determine, does everyone get these, or, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, and one thing to note is Rome wasn't built in a day. And when I'm giving my clients a detox program, it starts with their diet. So eating meat actually helps people to detox. So a lot of people don't realize this, that you need the sulfur-containing amino acids in meat, like taurine, so that your liver can detox. And this is one thing that vegetarian and vegans, unfortunately, their livers don't detox very well. And that's why, toxins can build up in their body. And that's why vegetarians and vegans can still get cancer, even if they're not eating meat. And that's one thing I learned. I was vegetarian for a couple of years and realized in my research that was not the best idea. But lots of different reasons to be vegetarian and vegan other than nutrition. And other things people can do is sleeping. You have to sleep adequately. That's when your body is detoxing. So that's another key to detoxification, and a lot of very simple things that people should be doing anyways to be healthy. So I just want to give people a couple little basics. And so my favorite detox supplements, additional ones that I give to clients, cilantro oil. Very natural product. I love the Panacea cilantro oil. It's fresh pressed from the seeds themselves. And the cilantro oil works a lot like DMSA, prescription chelation drug. And the oils get into your brain because your brain readily accepts fats into it, and it will pull mercury and aluminum and cadmium and other toxic metals out of your brain and out of your body. It works amazingly well. So that's another supplement people can be taking every day, taking a teaspoon of that. Herb Farm also has a cilantro extract. That one doesn't work as well. It does work pretty well, and it has a lot of clinical research behind it, but that has the leaves and stems and seeds. So I personally think a product with only the seeds, with a fresh pressed oil, is the best product to use. And you can just take a teaspoon of that every single day. The next product I liked is sodium R-lipoic acid. So how is this different from alpha lipoic acid? A lot of people think, hear of alpha lipoic acid for detoxification, but sodium R-lipoic acid is a fat-soluble R-lipoic acid, and the only one on the market is Life Extension Super R-lipoic acid. That's the only one that I recommend to my clients because it's fat soluble, and most other R-lipoic acids are water soluble, and the fat soluble works 20 to 30 times more effectively than an R-lipoic acid that's water soluble or an alpha lipoic acid. So much, much, much different. And that's a very important distinction to make. The next products I like to give people are glutathione. Glutathione, a lot of people aren't making enough of it. They don't have enough selenium to make it, or they have other deficiencies, or they have genetic issues where they're not able to make enough. So supplementing that on a detox program is very, very smart thing to do. I really like Source Naturals Chem Defense. That's a great thing to take. It's a sublingual glutathione. Very important when taking glutathione to do it sublingually. Because it will absorb into your body. If you take a pill of glutathione, you're feeding your gut bugs, and that makes them very happy, but they're very greedy and they don't share it within your body. So it has to be sublingual. Liposomal glutathione is nice too, but it's very, very expensive, and it can downregulate your own natural production of glutathione, making you dependent on it to keep taking it. So I take a little bit of liposomal glutathione here and there. I don't take it every day. Another great thing to take is Kelotox EDTA suppositories. These can be purchased from a health practitioner or on the internet. And these, you have to be careful. These are not something for everyone, but they are something you can get over the counter. I don't recommend them unless people have cadmium toxicity, lead toxicity, manganese toxicity people can get from their well water. But these are simple at-home things that you can do if you have those metal toxicities. They make a huge difference in people's lives. I find that most people do have some level of cadmium in their body because you get cadmium in cigarette smoke, you get cadmium in coffee. I hate to break it to you. That's part of the kick of coffee is the cadmium that's in it.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yes, and you get it in, even if it's organic coffee, it doesn't matter. You get it in dental work. And a lot of companies are illegally dumping cadmium. So a lot of different places that we're getting that. So those are just some, simple tips that people can start, detoxing on their own at home if they're not able to work with a practitioner.
Can you talk to us a little bit about safety, overdoing it, underdoing it, maybe even signs that, you shouldn't be doing this sort of thing? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I've found that a lot of folks will do whatever it is that your coach, your doctor, whoever it might be, tells them what to do. And they're on their deathbed and they're like, oh, my doctor says I got to do this. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Doctors aren't God. You know what I mean? So what kind of just tips? Are there certain signs and symptoms that you've seen that are common and not common for detoxification?
Yes. Number one, always listen to your body. Okay, don't worry about the thing you read in the book or what your doctor's saying or anything. You have to listen to your body. If your body is saying, please stop this, you need to slow it down or stop whatever supplements or chelating agents that you're taking, especially if you're really, really ill. A lot of my clients coming to me are very ill. They have multiple health conditions. They have to take it really, really slow. And so for like BioSil, they can only do 1 or 2 drops of the BioSil. That's all they can handle. And fatigue is one of the biggest issues in detoxification because it takes a lot of energy to detox. And so when people are experiencing a lot of fatigue, they may just need to slow it down a little bit, take less of the supplements or stop the supplements for a couple of days. And people can have other symptoms. They can have anxiety. They can have nausea. Many times people have nausea when their liver is overloaded and can't take, it just can't process all the toxins they're mobilizing quickly enough. And these are all very, very normal and can be par for the course when you're doing a full-on detox. But I encourage people to just do what you can handle. You're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. As long as you can handle it, great, just keep going. But if you're really feeling like you don't feel well, it's too much, you can't do your normal daily activities, it's time to pull the reins in a little bit.
Okay. And then what? Like flush water, sleep, sauna? I mean, what would you do if you're in that situation? Because maybe someone listening, and I bet there are, because I get this a lot, Wendy, that people are like, okay, I'm in a place right now. I know I'm not doing too well. I'm on this crazy regimen that's beating up my body. I mean, what do you recommend for that?
So I recommend people take a lot of Pectosol C. A lot of these symptoms people are having are due to toxins floating around in their bloodstream, and their body, and while the body is trying to process it, these toxins are floating around causing different problems. So if you take a lot of Pectosol C, you can take 10 grams or even 20 grams. In doing so, within the hour, you can dramatically reduce detox symptoms. And that's why Pectosol C should be a very important part of any detox program, because you have to have something to absorb all these toxins that your body is mobilizing. Eating lots and lots of vegetables, lots of fiber, really important, because toxic metals get bound up in the fiber and then eliminated. So when people not eating, Pectosol C is essentially a fiber. And when people are not eating enough fiber, that can be problematic, just generally for health and on a detox program. Like you said, drinking a ton of water, flushing it out. Coffee enemas are not super popular, but very, very effective at helping your liver to dump its toxic contents and just get your body flushed out generally. So when your body is backed up with toxins, the liver is backed up, when you flush it out with a coffee enema, it's not for cleaning the colon, it's for cleaning out the liver and flushing the liver. That can really help your body to facilitate processing whatever toxin is bothering you. And they're not for everyone. If you don't tolerate caffeine, probably not going to be able to tolerate a coffee enema.
That is super helpful. Do you have any thoughts on colonics, colon irrigation?
You know what? I've done them before a long, long time ago. I think that they're helpful. I mean, I don't think people should have to pay, $75 or $100 to go somewhere and do colon irrigation. I prefer when people do things at home, with an enema bag and whatnot. It's just, you can get started for $8, get an enema bag at your drugstore. And the water will irrigate your colon. And that's very helpful if you're constipated. You don't want that toxic fecal matter and the toxins in that reabsorbing back through your colon into your body. So I think it's very important for people to relieve constipation with water enemas if they don't tolerate coffee. But it's not the most effective detox strategy. I think that coffee enemas really help the liver to detox. And that's, more important than just flushing out the colon.
Folks, a lot of us out there don't even realize how toxic we are until we do some of these things that Wendy suggests. And then we get to a place like we're walking on cloud nine. I've experienced that and wow. And then so for me, I've been so in tune with my body, just living the lifestyle that I've lived the last 13 or so years, that I'll know. Being sluggish, being fatigued, that's really for me my number one sign. If I have to drink a cup of coffee to keep up my crazy energy a couple times a week, that's okay, I got to sit back. And so I know, Wendy, you're really passionate about helping people overcome fatigue because it is such a common complaint with most people. So we all want energy. And why do you think specifically, because I know you have some really good insight into this, why and what have you found causes this chronic fatigue across our nation?
Yes, well, fatigue is the first sign something's not working properly in your body. And people will turn to coffee, they'll turn to stimulants. I totally get it. I've been there myself. But what I realized in my research is that there are toxic metals that are poisoning enzymes that transport nutrients into your mitochondria. And your mitochondria make your ATP. They make your body's energy. And I reviewed this earlier. But these toxic metals are really what are causing your lack of energy. And there's no amount of coffee that's going to, cover this up. You can't keep covering it up for very long because it comes back to get you. And then people move into chronic fatigue syndrome and things like that. And my clients with chronic fatigue, they typically have very high levels of either thallium, arsenic, tin, aluminum, or all of the above. And when I first did an assessment of myself, I had all of the above. I had everything. I had thallium, arsenic, tin, and aluminum. And that's why I was exhausted. And over the course of the last few years, when I've been able to detox these metals, my energy has just blossomed. And I'm still always looking for that next level of energy, that next level of brain functioning. I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I went from just exhausted all the time, not having enough energy to work out, and just feeling like my brain wasn't working. And I was a shadow of my former self.
Wow.
And I wanted to go get a master's degree. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to remember anything. I can't remember something I read in an article last week. How am I going to go back to school? And I really, for me, I put the brakes on my dreams, because I knew I didn't have what it took to accomplish them. And it was only because of these toxins. And so let's talk a little about these toxins that reduce fatigue. The main one is thallium. Nobody knows about this, not even a lot of detox experts. And it's in the air that we're breathing. It's from car exhaust. It's from smog. Thallium is a gasoline additive that our lovely petroleum companies add to the gas because it makes the car engines last longer. It prevents knocking. And so we're breathing this in, and it's very toxic. It's actually used in assassination attempts. In Russia, there's like some interesting stories behind that. But it's very toxic to the body and reduces our ability to produce energy. It causes our adrenal fatigue. It blocks potassium channels in the body and just causes so many different problems. And then there's arsenic. Arsenic is in our water. It's in conventional chickens and eggs. There are antibiotics that contain arsenic. It's in rice products. You want to go organic, but even they still have arsenic. And arsenic also poisons enzymes that transport fats out of fat cells. So if you're trying to do everything to lose weight like I was and failing, because I was very, very arsenic toxic. And as I have reduced my arsenic body burden, I've been able to lose weight a lot more easily. So that was my arch nemesis, was that arsenic. Then there's tin. Tin is found in a lot of different things. Then there's aluminum. Most people have some level of aluminum in their body. We've been slathering it on this aluminum toxic deodorant our whole lives. And it's also used as a drying and anti-caking agent in flour and salt. It's in, our soda cans that people are drinking from every single day. There's so many different ways that we get aluminum. It's added to municipal water sources, just a lot of different ways we get that. So these metals are just one example of, how they reduce our energy, how they interfere in our body's metabolic function. And there's a million more examples. And, lead, people that have lead, especially older folks that were breathing in the leaded gasoline fumes, that lead is being stored in your bones and causing fatigue in your body. So I can just go on and on and on. I'm very, very passionate about detoxification. So it just begs the question, you need to start detoxing and doing a simple daily detox, strategies and protocols every single day. But you just get started with some basics. Get started with some BioSil and some Pectosol C, and that will help you to get rid of some of these metals that are causing your fatigue.
That's fantastic. Wendy, you covered so much information. We just about out of time. Is there something that you feel needs a little more emphasis? Did you forget something? Did I forget to ask you something? How would you like to wrap up?
Well, it's just my main message to people to start thinking about detoxification and adding it to your health regime. I feel so bad. A lot of my clients are going to doctor after doctor after doctor trying to figure out what's wrong with them. And they do all this testing and spend all this money. And the doctors are not looking at mineral and nutrient deficiencies and heavy metal and chemical toxicities. And I don't get it because they learn about mineral physiology in college and then they're just have it trained out of them or something because they're always just looking for what medication can I give to solve this problem. The underlying root cause of health issues, disease, symptoms are mineral and nutrient deficiencies and heavy metal and chemical toxicities. So if you aren't looking at that, that's the missing piece of the puzzle that you need to address.
Well said, my dear. Well said. Wendy, thank you again for not only your work, in that what you've been doing for so many years, but kind of, this is like your legacy, this summit, this event. I mean, this is, in a sense, up until where you're at, a culmination of your life's work, putting all these contacts and experts together. And I've done 3 of these now. I know what it's like being on the other end of the microphone, and it's just exceptionally draining. It is. And so thank you, folks. You don't realize there's a lot of energy that comes into putting on something like this. Like Wendy said, it's been a year. So please share this with your loved one. Take this information home with you. I know you got to listen to this interview again a couple times just to get all the information that Wendy just shared with us. And Wendy, we do have just a quick minute because you are the hostess of the event. We could wrap up with this. Would you like to give anyone just like a run through any of the special talks that people really need to listen to? You know, I'm a father of 4 and all my children are my favorite. And I like every interview I've ever done. I love them all, but there's always a couple that really, really stand out. So as people walk through this next week with you at the Medicinal Supplement Summit, what do you really want them to get out of it? Number 1, and 2, what must listen, must watch interviews are there?
I had so much fun putting this summit together. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it's just such a labor of love, because I know when I was first, getting interested in health and learning about supplements and trying to figure out, what brand is good. Should I do food-based or synthetic? And should I take resveratrol and turmeric? And I was reading all these amazing articles about all these amazing natural substances that people can be taking to improve their health. And I was very confused. And I thought, how much stuff do I really need to be taking to be healthy? And I had this huge, shopping bag full of supplements and taking so many things, and I was spending so much money. And I wanted to do this summit to help reduce confusion and help get people focused in and honed in on the basic supplements that everyone should be taking, and then what supplements you can take customized to your health condition, and illuminate some testing people can do if they want to take things to the next level and customize it to their body and their body chemistry, and throw in some information about genetics and how you can supplement around your genetics. And there's lots of very interesting ways that you can go about it. So I want to just give people a basic education on how they can supplement for them. And the most interesting talks I found that you have to listen to, the number 1 favorite of mine is the Mike Adams talk. Mike Adams of naturalnews.com. He's been around forever and has so much amazing information to share. He created a lab where he is testing all the foods, all the supplements, testing teas for toxic metals. And he's called out a lot of these, organic supplement companies and organic food companies and a lot of the, big makers of the products that we're eating every day for our health. But some of them contain shockingly large amounts of toxic metals that are undermining our health, and we're paying for the privilege. So that's an important talk. I also love Harry Massey's talk. He's of neshealth.com, and he suffered from chronic fatigue for 7 years. He was bedridden, and he came up with this device where you scan your hand, and it scans your body's electromagnetic activity. And based on that, you can tell infections you've had. It can tell your nutrient deficiencies. It can tell so much information about your body. And you get these infoceutical water that the practitioner can make based on your scan. And you can work on, one part of your body at a time. So you want to work on anxiety, or you want to work on gut health, or you want to work on detox, or you want to work on, whatever part of your body you want to work on, whatever is problematic for you, your energy levels, what have you. And this infoceutical water has information that tells your cells how to behave properly. And this is the future of supplementation. This is the future of medicine, actually, to take this infoceutical water and retrain your cells in your body how to function properly. And I've just heard amazing testimonials about how this works. And it seems very far-fetched. I was certainly very skeptical when I first heard about it, because we're so used to thinking, you have to take a medicine to make changes, or, take supplements to make changes. But it's very, very interesting. So I encourage people to listen to that one as well.
That's wild. And that's awesome. And folks, you're awesome too. Thank you so much. I know that listening and being part of something like this summit is not only the first step, but it helps continue our health and education. So again, this is your guest host, Dr. Eric Zielinski, and it's been a lovely interview with Wendy Myers. And you could check out Wendy at live2110.com. And please, please, please share this summit with your loved ones because they need it. Well, folks, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.